Hey everyone, it's Richard Payne here from Halifax Homes and Lifestyle, and it is getting cold, which means our real estate market could also be starting to that change as we kind of get into the middle of November and then December and January as we get the snow and as we get all that wonderful stuff. But the question is, how did October perform? So stay tuned, we've got the details coming right up just for you. Okay, so let's look at October. We have had a solid, absolutely brilliantly performing market since February, I think was when I actually started noticing that inventory was coming down, prices were staying fairly steady, prices have been going up since then as well. So when we want to look at the market, we want to see not only how did October perform, but as we get into the November, December, and then January and February, which is kind of the winter and the slower months, how is it going to happen? Like, are we going to stay the same or are we going to get better? What is the actual change that we're about to see? But when we look at October, 3.2 months of inventory. Again, more or less the same. It's been kind of in that like 2 to 3 month range since June, and it's basically stayed steady. Now for October, that is a brilliant result. Like 3 months of inventory in the Halifax market overall. So there are some higher markets which we'll get into, but overall 3 months is brilliant news for us. Now we have 1,488, let's call it 1,500 active. We sold 466, that gets us the 3 months. Now the interesting thing here is that we had 53 days on market, which is down from 60 days. Now in this case, down is a good thing. So 53 days on market for properties to sell. Average selling price just a little bit over $329,000 and 98% sale to list price. So that means average price has come down a little bit from last month. Last month I think was a high. We had some really big sales in September. Whereas in October, everything kind of leveled out and became a little bit more normal. We had a couple of the over $1 million ones, but not enough to actually bring the price up that much. So, we were down 6% on last month in terms of price, but 3% on last year, we are up. So that's a good thing. We want to be up. Now, when we look at it as well, sales to new listing ratio is always something that's been interesting. And I know that last month we were at like 150% sale to new listings. So when you look at that number, this month we are at 87%. So that still means that yes, we're bringing on 100 new listings, but we're selling 87 of them. And that is what is keeping that inventory low. So that's what's keeping us firmly and squarely in the seller's market, which means buyers, you've got to start thinking of something a little bit different in terms of your offer strategy, because we're getting at 98% sale to list price. So the prices are getting a lot closer to the actual asking price for the sellers. They're selling in 53 days, so they're selling pretty quick. Like, that's fairly good market. Now, when we want to look at this year to last year, so October 19 to October 18, we are basically the same number of houses that sold, but we were up 15%. So when we look at October this year, October last year, 15% more houses sold in October this year. Again, another reason that it's keeping that inventory way down low. Now, when we look at the top markets, number one, Sackville, back up there, 51 days on market, $260,000 average price. So average price for Sackville has actually gone up. 1.4 months of inventory. That's really low. And they sold 43 homes. That made them the number one. Number two, back into Bedford, $472,000 average price, 63 days on market, 2.7 months. So pretty much average for what we'd see for the market. And then number three, back down into Timberley, Prospect, St. Margaret's Bay area, Upper Tantallon, $307,000 average price, 73 days on market. So creeping up a little bit, 4.5 months of inventory. So that's what's going on overall. Now, when we look at how we're going to get into November, December, and January, a lot of the closings are going to happen, which means sold houses. When we look at our numbers, we like to look at, well, who went conditional or sold, because in theory, that is the sale. And it stayed pretty consistent. So I am going to see a slowdown, I think, in November, December, and January. The big question is, are we still getting all the people moving here that are driving that market to make sure that we're still obviously seeing a lot of buyers in the market? And that's going to be the interesting thing. I'll probably delve into a little bit more in that in a couple of other videos that we've got coming up as we kind of get through the months. We might kind of do like little quick 1 minute snapshots as we get into the middle of the months for December and November to see what are we seeing so far. So stay tuned for those. But if you have any questions on the market, or you want some specifics on your particular market, because maybe I didn't touch on it, then by all means get in touch, let us know, and we will give you the answer, keep you informed, because that's what it's all about. Know the market, know your strategy, because they change. Whether you're a buyer, a seller, or an investor, depending on the market, your strategy will change for definite. So you just need to understand that. So give us a call, let us know how we can help.